Coming up against the next Lord Soul, and another one I was afraid of. Goodbye, Paladin Roy. And that is, Gravelord Nito. Here I'm preparing to just heal after taking this mandatory damage. Almost died to the scream here, but managed to heal just in time. So my fear here was that I was going to be overwhelmed by skeletons. I can, in fact, kill the skeletons with my lightning damage, as we're about to see. Here I decided I would test out if I could kill them or not. The answer is yes, but it's not super effective. Killing them occasionally is probably what kept me from bleeding out during the fight, which I hear is what happened to Burned Head. But just keeping them down with some attacks. It could probably also be power attacking them in order just to knock them over and then letting Nito play cleanup. Because although I have trouble killing Nito, although I have trouble killing the skeletons, Nito surely doesn't. Here's another reason I was worried about Nito, is that he's actually pretty resilient. Usually he's not an issue because all of his attacks are laughably easy to avoid, and he himself is rather large, so there's lots of opportunities to hit him. But I really can't hit him very easily, and the damage I do is pretty low. And then here's the third and last reason I was afraid of Nito, and that is that if he just decides to do that attack enough, it's going to be a battle of healing. And here's me using grass so that I can just wail on him some more. And this is really just a fight from here on out. Just me wailing on Nito's skeleton beard while he hunkers over and blasts me with magic. Another reason 20 Estus is good. By this point, you are guaranteed to have the right of the kindling. And here he goes using better attacks. The sweeping sword slash is really the attack you want him to be using because it'll hit the skeletons the most. Whereas this attack will hit the skeletons, but it'll also always damage you. I've heard of runs that do like no-hit runs. Runs where you just always have the Calamity and Dust Crown ring on, so you just have so little health that you died in one hit to everything. And I should see how they handle Nito, because I'm interested in that. Yeah, that attack. How that attack very easily kills skeletons. So several minutes in, and we're only this much into the boss. Is chipping away, hitting him in those dangly skeleton legs. It's curious to think what Nito actually is. He's called the First of the Dead, but he's made of skeletons. So were those skeletons made just for him? Like, did Nito create these skeletons to wear? Because we also see his little beef jerky legs. Maybe Nito made every skeleton every person ever had. And of course he excreted these skeletons into the water supply so that when people would drink water they would make skeletons for them and their offspring to have in their body. As we all know, the first humans didn't have skeletons. They had to obtain them somehow, so maybe that makes sense. Yeah, it's also funny to think about how the pinwheel enemies tried to imitate Nito. If you look at the concept art of them, each pinwheel is just 3 people stacked on top of each other. That's why they're so tall and have the weird hunchback. Because there's one guy standing, and then there's a guy on his shoulders, and then there's a guy on his shoulders. his leg sticks out. That's a pretty easy place to hit him when his leg sticks out. I suppose I'm needlessly gendering both the people in the pinwheel costumes as well as Nito itself, because it's hardly alive. Hard to say if it is a it or a they. Usually that's a sensitive topic, but skeleton is its own gender, as we know, and there just aren't pronouns for skeletons. They've been arguing for that for years. Fight's still going. This is one of the less exciting boss fights of the run, because it takes a long time. There's really just not a whole lot to it. It's just bring Estus, maybe bring some humanity if you want to do that too. Green grass helps. If I had gotten the Mask of the Child off of Pinwheel, I would be using it. I got Dad Mask instead though, which really doesn't serve any purpose. Here I got out a little too far. I didn't quite get out far enough to attract Big Skeleton, which is what I was afraid of, but I'm getting Big Skeleton interested in me would be basically a death sentence. Wrangling all of those would be really bad. It would very much suck. These skeletons just simultaneously standing up. So the pinwheel, maybe the pinwheels have a family in them. There's the because all of them are wearing a mask. So there's the mask of the father, who's definitely masculine, and then there's the mask of the mother, who's definitely feminine. I guess the question becomes, mask of the child, kind of androgynous, doesn't really. Maybe it's a. When you ask Pinwheel its preferred pronouns, it just says he, she, they, because they depends on which mask you're talking to. Yeah, the mask's item description only says this mask belonging to the naive child. Anyways, Nito's almost dead. Just let me spank you a little more. I tried to be cool with the jump attack, but it's not as cool when A, it doesn't kill him, and also B, it misses. And that's Gravelord Nito. Here's me trying to get extra souls by putting on the silver ring. I don't know if I'd ever do it in time. But that's Gravelord Nito. And here's me taking a screenshot so I can look at this beautiful, beautiful bird boy.